Greetings and welcome back to the weekly news roundup. I hope everybody had a wonderful week, getting ready for a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And I am on the eve of starting my next big journey across the United States. So that means next week I will be up in Erie, and that means I visit with some people for a little bit. And I may have fewer videos next week. We will most likely still run the weekly news roundup. We may or may not run a supporters hangout, but I will let everybody know what's going on when I have more information. For anybody who missed it that is a supporter, we did release another short story on Monday. So that is available on all of the supporter networks. And I do not know if the bug is resolved on Think Life Media. So if you have a Think Life Media subscription and you cannot log in, please shoot me an email and I will look into it and resolve that. I hate that platform. It needs serious revisions. That's why I don't really push it anymore. But some of you are still on it. So it is there. You just may not be able to log in. Who knows? But anyway, the other thing we are going to try, another thing tonight. We are going to cut out the two main stories this week and release them both tomorrow. And just because even I'm a person, I don't like to sit down and watch an hour-and-a-half video, even if the topic seems somewhat interesting. So I want to see if people will jump on if they see one of our two main news topics as just a 20-minute cutout video. So we're going to test that and see how that works. So I will intro and outro those for the recordings tonight as we are going. And once again, we will jump on into the content here very, very quickly. And once we do that, then we will take a comment break after we're done with our two main news stories. So let's go ahead and get started in here with, if you want to help support the channel, you can have a look at the website, switchedtolinux.com/support. We have our monthly support options over there as well. And we also have a list of affiliates up there on the page as well. And I do take a lot more care with my affiliates to make sure they're at least reputable. You know, we're not going to see affiliates for honey over here. And if there is an issue with one, I do try and research what's going on, things like that. And I have taken some down before. Anyway, you can help support the channel over there. And with that, we're going to go ahead and jump into our very first topic for the night. So on tonight's first news topic in the weekly news roundup, we are going to be talking about keeping kids off the internet. This has been an ongoing discussion we've been having for the last about month or longer, because there's just this right now is such a fast move. I look at all the news articles and I'm going, do we have to talk about age verification again? Sadly, unfortunately, yes. We have to talk about it again because it's a rapidly changing, rapidly developing system in the news, and it is so relevant to what we talk about with privacy and with security. And so we are going to talk about it. We're going to take two different approaches. One of those is the safety of the AI, and then we're going to look at what's going on with age verifications and bring this issue up. Keep kids off the internet. Curiously, we had people over here at my friend's house, and the one young boy's in there, and I was discussing what my topics are. He's like, keep kids off the internet. No, I gotta have my internet, you know. That's the type of approach, which of course is something we expect, because you give him a cake and he wants to eat cake instead of broccoli every day. Is it any wonder? It's an addictive thing which can be used appropriately, like the cake can be used appropriately, but when overly done or done without the supervision becomes more of a liability than a help. Now, the question is this up to the government to solve, or is this up to the parents to solve? And we have to remember this: the internet is not a safe place for children. If you would not allow your children to walk down on the wrong side of the tracks downtown Chicago, particularly before the guard is deployed, then you probably do not want your kids on the internet, because the internet in many ways is a lot more dangerous. You walk down the bad parts of cities. I'll just use this analysis. I've walked down a lot of cities. I have my own fun stories in Chicago. And of all of the places I have traveled in all of my van life journeys, fraternities, the most unsafe I've ever felt was Slab City. If you're unaware, that is the crazy land-disputed anarchist zone right next to a military test range. I mean, they miss. They can just blow up a whole bunch of meth heads in one quick spoof. All right. But I'm walking around there, and you got the most eclectic group of psychos all together in one place, and it's crazy. In fact, in the time I was there, I kid you not, I am reasonably certain a drug cartel set up an entire shop right next to me while I was there for 7 days. I pull in there 2 days later, they pull in there, and they had an operation running 24/7, four-wheelers all time of the day. By the time I left a couple days later, they had an entire greenhouse put together and had built a giant structure. It was quite impressive. And so you think about when I was there and I'm walking around a little bit, it was the only place I carried with me a walking stick because I literally felt unsafe, and that was during the day. Mind you, I have walked all over the place. I have walked in cities, desolate areas. I've walked in wild areas. I have been close to bears and coyotes and rattlesnakes and all sorts of stuff. I have been around the human element. I have slept in cities where there are literally gunshots during the day. Slab City is something else. And when you're walking down it, you are heightened and aware in those physical spaces. The problem with the internet is it bypasses that sense of fear, and your guard goes down, and you don't even know it, but you're being abused on the other end of the line. And that is why the internet is a dangerous place that, for the most part, children should not be on without parental supervision. The question is, do we as a society agree with this and start putting up the old drug commercials like Nancy Reagan had put out? If you're like my age or so, you'll remember the frying pan and the egg. Shh, this is your brain. This is your brain on social media. Any questions? You know, and the fact of the matter is, of course, they use drugs, not social media. We need to bring those things back and talk about the social media. Were they effective? No, of course not. But at least if we can convince parents that, hey, maybe think twice before giving your children unfettered, unsupervised access to the internet, that would be a thing. The other factor is where the government can step in is make sure every product that can connect to the internet is serviceable by the end consumer. So if I have the know-how, or do this in such a way that small businesses can pop up that are, helping families protect their kids on the internet. You can work with a local business that can come in, monitor everything, set everything up, and just make sure that your kids don't access things, because the safety filters they have, they are ineffective because the devices themselves are ineffective. It's too easy to bypass those systems, and most of them come with extra tools. Would you like to keep your children safe on the internet from all the perverts? Well, give us $29.99 a month. Sounds like a wonderful deal for somebody else who probably doesn't do a very good job. The fact of the matter is, if there's any government regulation at all, the government regulation should be to allow the parents that care to actually take active, proactive steps to keep their children safe on the internet, because the internet is an unsafe place. It is not a place for children. It is not a place children should be. You look at these high-end tech gurus, your Bill Gates, your Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs. None of these let their children go to public schools where they're forced to use Google accounts and Microsoft accounts. Is it any wonder? All of them sent their children to private schools that were offline, no computers, no technology. Why? Because they know what they don't want you to know, that technology is more harmful and the tracking of your children is dangerous. This is why Mark Zuckerberg has bought several city blocks so that he has a safe zone from anybody else seeing what he's doing on his network. Too bad he doesn't afford the same privacy to you unless you proactively block Facebook on your network. And you have to do that. It is not enough to not have a Facebook account. It is not enough to not go to Facebook. Facebook will still track you around the internet unless you take proactive steps to stop it, because it is a dangerous place that seeks to grab every bit of data. And now, unfortunately, we have the AI being pushed out upon us. And this is what gets us into the news portion, discussing the news of the week. And I have a ton of articles. I have so many I consider having this as a single type of article here. And so what I wanted to do here with this is I wanted to talk about all the various ways that the internet is indeed dangerous for kids. And so first we start out with Google Gemini is dubbed high risk for kids and teens in a new safety assessment. So Common Sense Media is a place that goes around and does the like the safety groups, and they do safety assessments for it, and they've looked at a variety of these different things. They released the risk assessment of Google's Gemini AI products on Friday. Well, the organization found that Google's AI clearly told kids it was a computer, not a friend, something that's associated with helping drive delusional thinking and psychosis in emotionally vulnerable individuals. It did suggest that there was room for improvement across several other fronts. Now, Gemini's under 13 and teen experience tiers both appeared to be the adult versions under the hood, with only a few additional safety measures added on top. I'm going to put a parenthetical in here. As I was browsing along X today, I actually saw a post, I think it was an ad actually, where Google is saying, hey, take a picture of your favorite toy and we'll do something with it with AI embedded. Like, I'm not sure if I read that right. I read it a couple times. I didn't pull it out to show you, but it was an interesting thing that I saw as I was browsing on the latest news. Carrying back on with the article, Gemini could still share inappropriate and unsafe materials with children, which they may not be ready for, including information related to sex and drugs and alcohol and other unsafe mental health advice. And so, in addition, the analysis comes as news leaks indicate that Apple is considering Gemini as the LLM, that it will help to power its forthcoming AI-enabled Siri due out next year. So your Apple devices with all of these children protection features will probably be using Gemini in the background. Google, of course, pushes back against the assessment while noting the safety features were improving. So Google's like, no, this isn't true. We know we're not safe, but it's not true. Come on, you know. It admitted that some of Gemini's responses weren't working as intended, and so it added additional safeguards to address these concerns. Well, sorry for that poor kid who discovers how to get around that first. It's like it's playing whack-a-mole. So Common Sense previously looked at other assessments and found Meta AI and Character AI were unacceptable, meaning the risk was severe, not just high. Of course, Character AI is linked to two adverse effects in teens. One was a self-deletion, and the other was an attempted self-deletion. And Meta AI, of course, that was out with their AI, telling, 12-year-olds they look great without the shirt on, that was disgusting. So Perplexity was deemed a high risk. ChatGPT was labeled as moderate. And Claude AI, which is targeted to users 18 and up, was found to be a minimal risk. So go figure. Hey, all of these children-safe AIs are unacceptable high risk. The one for 18-year-old adult, that one was okay. Go figure. I don't know. But it goes on. So the various attorneys general, to be grammatically correct, warned that OpenAI is a harm to children. It warns OpenAI that harm to children will not be tolerated. In other words, OpenAI is taking an approach that most tech companies tend to do. Let's move really fast, let's break things, and let's recorrect when something is there. Well, the problem is when you're pushing these out on kids, sometimes that damage is just too damaging. And that's one of those things that we have to keep in mind. So California Attorney Rob Bonte and Delaware Attorney General Kathy Jennings met and sent an open letter to OpenAI, go figure, right, to express their concerns over safety of ChatGPT, especially for children and teens. The warning comes a week after Bonte and 44 other attorneys general sent a letter to 12 of the top companies following reports of inappropriate interactions between AI chatbots and children. So whatever safeguards were in place, they wrote, did not work. So these things are not working. You got to keep your kids away from this. So, of course, which one was Taylor again? Brett Taylor, the chair of OpenAI board, said in a statement the company is committed to addressing the concerns. As long as they can keep their money in the process. We are heartbroken by these tragedies and our deepest sympathies with their families. Safety is our highest priority and working close with policymakers around the world. I'm sorry, stop being heartbroken about the children who your product has killed. Stop it. See, we need to hold these companies, we need to hold the directors of these companies tangibly, legally liable for the missteps that they do. Don't think twice about it. Oh, there's a chance we're going to get a second-degree manslaughter if we release the bad thing on the world. Oh, I would probably not like to be arrested and sent in the clink for a while. Pretty soon we'll have clanker guards, so we'll have clankers in the clink, or the clink with the clankers. Who knows? But if we get to this point where the AI product damages somebody, and we're not just like, oh, point around like, Spider-Man, which was him, it's him. No. Everybody in the C-suite, y'all all get a manslaughter charge. You released a dangerous product on the world. That might be a little harsh, but maybe we'll get some protections, and maybe we'll get to the point where people think, maybe I should keep my kids off the internet, because that's probably what needs to happen. Because again, I don't really want there to be all this stuff. I don't want this to be the issue. But here's the thing. If we all agree as a society, kids shouldn't be on the internet, then they should be held without liability, because the kid's not supposed to be their own worst parents. Now, you can make the argument, I can't keep my kid off the internet. My kid can get the phone without me knowing. They can go to their friend's house. Yeah, this is true. This is true. And these are the challenges of parenthood. We've always had to deal with that kind of stuff. Even in my day, we would, try and go to one place's house, say we're going somewhere else's house, and, sneak out and do mischievous things in the night, The problem is right now in our current world, the stakes are a lot higher. And if we all can agree that the internet is not a safe place for kids, we might have a world that we have the better tools to make sure that that is a reality. And that's the type of stuff that we want to mention here. Of course, other work from Meta. Meta suppressed children's safety research. 4 different whistleblowers come out. I do see there's a little bit of lack of credibility in some of this, as one of them is also embroiled in a wrongful termination suit over all sorts of stuff related to personal lifestyle. And so there's some potentially tainted opinions in this one here. But still, the document is true. Effectively, Meta did a bunch of research, found that social media was bad for kids, and so they decided to suppress it, because kids are where they make a lot of that money from. Moolah, we not the moolah. As long as these guys are going to be recklessly abandoning the youth of America and the world, really, for almighty dollars, so they can have another yacht and build another bunker off of Maui, maybe we need to stop and redress this a little bit. So 2 current and 2 former Meta employees disclosed documents to Congress alleging that the company may have suppressed research on children's safety, according to a report. 6 weeks after the whistleblower Frances Haugen leaked internal documents that shows Meta's own research found Instagram can damage teen girls' mental health. Go figure. Did we really need research for that? So one suggestion was to loop the lawyers into the research, protecting all their communications from adverse parties due to attorney-client privilege. Researchers could also write about their findings more vaguely to avoid terms like non-compliant or illegal. Let's find ways to work around the system. How joyful. Jason Satanzan, a former Meta researcher specialized in virtual reality, told Washington Post his boss made him delete recordings of an interview which a team claimed that his 10-year-old brother had been propositioned inappropriately on Meta's VR platform Horizon Worlds. So that should be easy to figure out who it was, or 3 people on that. The whistleblowers claim the documents they submitted to Congress show a pattern of employees being discouraged from discussing and researching their concerns about how children under 13 were using Meta's social virtual reality apps. I thought you had to be 13 to use those. Interesting. Turn the blind eye, I guess. This person here, Kelly Stonelake, this is the one that embroiled in a lawsuit. She led the go-to-market strategies to bring Horizon Worlds to teenagers, international markets, and mobile users, but she felt the app did not have adequate ways to keep out users under 13. She also flagged that the app had persistent issues with racism, and then, of course, we get into a whole bunch of racism allegations. Reuters reported last month that Meta's AI rules previously allowed chatbots to have romantic or sensual conversations with children, and we talked about that a couple weeks ago. So we have to be very careful about all this stuff. Now, FTC launches out. This was, it's rare I have an article included in the news from the day of the news. I usually do my news the week before. I didn't get a chance to highlight this one, but I did read it, and it was excellent here. FTC now launches an inquiry into an AI chatbot companies from Meta, OpenAI, and others, because now they really want to know what's going on as far as these AI chatbots and how these companies are evaluating safety versus monetization of the chatbot companions, how they try to limit the negative impacts on children and teens, and if parents are made aware of any potential risks. So these are all serious questions that we have. And they are all, of course, looking at the OpenAI, character AI situations, those two lawsuits. They mentioned over here, of course, the Meta and a bunch of other things like that. So the question now becomes a matter of, we got to this point where now we're like, we got to make sure the whole internet is sanitized for children. We can't do that. It's impossible to do that, nor should we do that, because the world is not necessarily made for children. Maybe you have a chance to figure out how to keep your kids entertained without giving them unfettered access to the internet. Maybe we need to put more pressure on the gaming companies to stop having these open world internet only games. Maybe we could go back to, like, I remember the very first game I ever played on the internet, Warcraft 2. A friend of mine in the local city, the only other guy I knew with a computer and a modem, and we had to dial into each other's computers to play over the internet. And of course it was, 33.6. My modem was 33.6. He was on a 15. Woo. Was that 15.4, I think? My internet was zooming, man. His was a little bit lagging behind. So the reality is that we can do these in such a way, but the problem is it's not as profitable, and these companies just want to make as much money as conceivably possible. So now this leads us to the second factor. Okay, children are around on the internet. How do we keep them safe? Well, we have to age gate everything. So now there's a growing debate over the expanding age verification laws. And in the last couple of months, I didn't even know this, but age verification laws have passed in like 22 states. Yikes. And it's all ineffective nonsense until the entire thing becomes federalized and everybody's like, we got to be this. And now we all have to share all of our ID. And at the end of this segment, we, of course, have a brand new company hoping to solve that. But I want to tell you, like, if we have to go this way, there is a way we can do it right. And I'll talk about that here at the end. But the technologists and policymakers are reckoning with a generation-defining problem on the internet. Well, it can be a revolutionary force for unprecedented education and connection across the globe. It can also pose dangers to children when they have completely unfettered access. And that's the problem. So is it the government's job to determine which websites kids can access? Is it up to the company to determine that? Or maybe we should just agree as a society we need to keep children mostly off the internet without adult supervision. We don't walk them down Slab City alone. We shouldn't walk them on the internet, because I promise you the internet is a far more dangerous place than Slab City. So there's no simple way, however, to monitor children's internet access without surveilling adults and paving a way for disastrous online privacy. That is true. Okay, how do we monitor children's internet access? Well, you know what happens at home, and it happens with the ability to monitor it. Like, I know how to secure your kid's phone safely. The problem is I don't have the access to what your phone would need to do that. Very simple. I mean, there's easy ways around it. We need to have solid settings on phones. So, for example, if I can change the DNS on the phone and then lock it, that would be a very, very simple function that could be built into any phone simply. And the reality is that is the best thing I could do to protect a kid from phone-based stuff, because I can log that in. I can use NextDNS or my own homegrown system. I can tie that into a private DNS. I can log it. Understand, with NextDNS, I can log everything. I can see every site that phone accesses. I can I can choose which sites they go to, which sites they can't, and it blocks it on an app level. Of course, they don't like that approach because it also means I can block all of their precious advertisements, and that's really should be our constitutional, or no, constitutional. It should be our human right to be able to go through life, going through a day without seeing an ad. That would be an amazing thing. It'd be awesome if we had the ability to do that. I mean, come on, half of us anymore, thanks to your AI approaches stealing all the jobs, none of us have money to buy crap anyway. Stop pushing the ads. We're broke. United States alone, 23 states have enacted age verification laws as of last month, with 2 more states following suit in September. So what is the age verification? So, of course, they have a brief discussion on the little check marks. Are you over 18? That deals with COPA. Over 18, over 13. Those deal with the COPA laws. The problem is it's a simple checkbox. So it's really up to you to affirm what it is. Well, in these new age, now they want to do some better form of age verification. Is this an AI to approximate your age? So we've been talking about having switch to Linux beards you can buy. So if you need to prove you're an adult, you can just put the switch to Linux beard on, do all your selfie stuff, and then it'll think you're an adult because now you have this nice, beautiful growing and graying beard. So, guaranteed to put you not too old, but not too young, get past all that age verification stuff. The switch to Linux beard. I don't know. We're seeing how we can do that. But I know the supporters are pushing for that in the store. But I don't know. We'll see what we can do on that. The other ways, of course, uploading an official ID, of course, that is rife with dangers. We also talked last week, we talked about the fact that, it's super easy to get fake IDs with all the fact that, not only Equihacks leaked a decade ago, like everything, we just had a leak of TransUnion. I've never done business with TransUnion. I don't want TransUnion to have all my data, but it's possible they leaked it all. Maybe we need to set these solid rules about this kind of stuff. But until we do that, I don't know. What's the point here? So parents and lawmakers are concerned about children accessing content that's potentially dangerous for minors, like online adult content, information about illicit drug use, and social media sites where they may encounter strangers with bad intentions. So, of course, how do we do that? Like, how do we verify somebody's a minor? With the lack of ID. So the internet has to be a place that's safe for children unless we flash your ID to get into the XXX side of the internet or something. I don't know. What if it's like that? There's actually there's a XXX adult superstore on the interstate in Brookville, and a local church bought the billboard that's in their parking lot and runs a perpetual anti-pornography ad. It is beautiful. So parents have turned to lawmakers to share horrific stories of how their children died after purchasing fentanyl-laced drugs on Facebook, or how they lost their own lives after facing incessant bullying on Snapchat. See, all this is solved if kids aren't on the internet. It's all solved. Keep kids off the internet. It's all solved. Meta's AI chatbots have reportedly flirted with children. Character AI and OpenAI are both facing lawsuits over self-deletory progresses of children who are allegedly encouraged by the company's chatbots. And, of course, the internet's not all bad, We had these wonderful discussions, of course. Salbu, if you don't follow Salbu's channel, he did a song the other day. He does AI-generated songs and stuff. They're pretty cool. But he did one kind of inspired on the guy who had this huge, vibrant World of Warcraft community. Now, he was permanently disabled. I forget exactly if he have MS or something, and he was literally chair and bedbound. He couldn't get up, and his parents were thinking he just was suffering with pure loneliness. What they didn't know until after he died is he had this massive community around him that all loved him. And he disappears from World of Warcraft. People are trying to figure out what's going on, but then they link him down to a person. Well, they got together and flew the clan out to the funeral. And his parents were like, I had no idea he had this many friends. And it's true. Friends on the internet can be just as good of friends as friends you have face to face. In many ways, I think a face-to-face friend is always generally a little bit better. But outside of that, man, we talk on our off-air supporter hangouts. We talk and we're not just a bunch of guys that are supporters of Switch Linux. We are a group of guys that are friends. And that is so cool that we can do that. I know more about Norway law because of our conversations and expressing questions about cultural difference. I mean, it's amazing to be able to hear things. I have friends in multiple, the four corners of this country. I have friends that I can talk to on the internet, because the internet can be a great place, but we just have to recognize that the internet is not a place to send your children with unfettered access. We have to have solutions that do not include carding everybody before getting on the internet. So global lawmakers have arrived at what they believe to be a sound compromise. They won't nuke the whole internet, but they'll just put certain content beyond a gate that you can only unlock if you can prove you're an adult. So should we do something like that? I am inclined to say no, because we don't have a solid way to verify it. Now, I do have a few plans. Let me get through the rest of these articles and we'll talk about what our plans are here. So there's just a number of other things on this. Of course, T was an example of a company that was uploading all your government IDs to verify who you are, and they were all saved and they were all leaked. So, of course, now those can all be used to make fake IDs. For anybody trying to get into these types of things or do illegal stuff on the internet, those tied to your ID instead. So, that works well. But of course, a lot of people have talked about backlash. Laws have inspired much backlash. It's not just because people are shy about linking their adult content viewership to their government IDs. It's not about that. It is about the fact we are in this highly political world. Of course, I think everybody across the world probably knows Charlie Kirk was assassinated yesterday. Whether you like the guy or don't like the guy, he was a very peaceful guy. In fact, you say, we got to use our words. This is a man that built an entire organization around using your words, and they killed him anyway. Some people just do not want to expose who they are on the internet because there's radical psychopaths seeking to do them harm. Okay, I have radical psychopaths seeking to do me harm. You hear it all the time. It's always fun when my name gets dropped right alongside Brian Lunduke. It's awesome. I need to chat with him sometime. It would be a great conversation, I think. But the reality is, there's a lot of people out there. It's not prosecuted for political speech. Oh, no. It's assassination for political speech. And we need to stop doing that kind of stuff. So some people are kind of shy about doing that. Should we just cut them off from the internet? It is now the de facto public square. You're not allowed to talk in the public square because you won't show us your government ID, which tells you where you live, so we can go and hunt you down and swat you and do all sorts of other dangerous stuff to you. No. There are deeper reasons than saying, oh, I just don't want this in. But here's the thing. The internet is a dangerous place. When I first got on the internet, and I am fortunate, I lived I lived a little now under half my life before the internet was mainstream enough for anybody to have it. The internet itself is fairly new. I know some of you new young guys are like, well, that's not true. I went on Wikipedia and I see the internet was around since the 60s. Okay, moron, you're showing your age. You could not, an end consumer, an average person could not get on the internet until the mid to late 90s. Even those were extremely cost prohibitive. First, you had to have an expensive computer. Second, you had to have a modem in that expensive computer. Third, you had to find a company that you could dial into. We could get it in some schools and some libraries. The internet was not an accessible thing until the mid to late 90s. And we have to recognize that. So I grew up in a world without the internet. And guess what? Children live and they survive and they're a lot more intelligent. They really are. They talk a little bit about VPNs, of course. So how are some of this age verification stuff being done? Well, Roblox is they've finally gotten over their flogging, and I'm not sure if they're done getting flogged yet, but we'll see what happens. The lawsuit here refers to Roblox and Discord as a real life nightmare for children. This is they're being jointly sued in California. Of course, the lawsuit in Louisiana is excellent. All sorts of things. They're finally coming out, and now they are kind of deploying the same type of thing YouTube has been playing around with. They're going to, examine your facial recognition, things like that, determine what age you are, and they're going to drop you into an under 13 group, a 13 plus group, and an 18 plus group. And you're not allowed to talk to anybody that you do not know in real life if you're in the, I think, 13 plus or under 13 group. So if you're placed under 13 group, okay, so if you're placed under 13 group, based on facial age estimation, certain personal data, including your email, phone number, will be removed from Roblox. Maybe everyone should have that option to do that. The goal is clear: limit communication between minors and adults that do not know each other in the real world. That is a laudable goal. But methods like facial scans, ID verifications will store information on servers, which can be breached. So this is what gets into the idea of double anonymity. So this kind of ties into the approach that I'll talk about. So I'll go ahead and talk about it here. We have one more article and then a service, so I want to mention here. So double anonymity basically separates the two types of information, the providers, from each other. The first provider, which is the website asking for confirmation, Roblox in this circumstance, would have a code that ties into the second site. It wants to know the age and no other information. The second provider, who's the age verifier, would receive the information about the age but not know anything about what the age verification is needed for. Then the user goes to that particular service, verifies their age, etc., and feeds that back to the original service. Now, the challenge of this is that now you have another ID.me situation. Of course, the IRS wanted to force everybody to have an ID.me account. The entire federal government forces you to work with an unscrupulous and poor security private company in order to access your public records. I'm sorry, that's a little unconstitutional. I think you need to find a way around that, Of course, it's going to cause a giant nightmare, but now we will see a giant group of these services pop up. We'll just go and go into this one here. This is one here. This is Kids Web Services. So this can be tied into numerous things. So Blue Sky is going to use this for the South Dakota and the Wyoming age verification. So what they would do is any company using this, I would then go over to this place, and very much like ID.me, I go over here and I use whatever method they have to verify my age. Now, ID.me is doing a full identification of who you are and verifying you are who you say you are. Of course, it has horrible security and very unscrupulous and problematic. Do not use ID.me. Very bad. Look for other ways around it. And if the company is like, well, this is what we use, tell them I ain't using it. And you got to put your foot down on some of this stuff. This one doesn't do that. This one's just verifying an age. And they say they'll verify age with, either ID or with selfies or with bank cards or a number of different ways. Now, if we are going to force age IDs, first and foremost, we need to agree as a society to keep kids off of the internet. But let's say, okay, we're going to be extra paranoid with sites that are explicitly adult content. Okay, if you're worried about people calling you names on something like Facebook, you definitely need to stay off the internet. Okay, let's just get that one out of the way. But when it comes down to legitimate content, like, how to fire a boom boom, perhaps. I'll just be gracious here. Adult content, adult videos, things like this. Okay, if we want to have some age verification system, we need to have a way to do that in a completely offline manner. For example, I have bank accounts scattered all across the country. Why? Well, because I have a couple business ventures in different states of the country, and the fact of the matter is some states have better banks than other states. So I happen to have two accounts at one bank, and I said, hey, I kind of want to save this account. The problem is the bank was on the other end of the country. So it poses the problem. How do we verify everything? Well, it was very simple. They sent me documents. I had to sign them and get them notarized. Okay, so I went to a local UPS store. You could also do your local bank. You could do a number of different things. Usually I would do my bank for that, but since I'm setting up a bank account at a competing bank, I decided not to do that. Let's just pay somebody a few more bucks. So you go in and you get it notarized. I got everything signed, notarized. They physically look at my ID. They don't take a copy of it. They physically look at it. They make sure it's valid. They stamp that they verified the ID, they verified the information, they verified the signatures, and they watched me physically sign it. I send that information back to the bank, and guess what? Now the bank can create the account for me because they verified who I am. What if we use that same approach? Because, almost everybody, not everybody, but almost everybody has a bank account. Most people still have a bank account at a local bank of some form. I know there's this proliferation of internet bank accounts. Okay, that's true. But let's just say, for example, there's these bank accounts. You're working with a local bank account. That bank account has your ID. They've seen it. They're verified who you are. What if we produce a system that a bank can verify your ID? So I do not have to scan my ID onto the internet, but you can still verify who I am through some portal at a bank. Maybe we need to have in credit card numbers, this account is tied to a person verified over 18, because kids can get credit cards too, and boom, verify that through that method. Any way we would have a means, if we can have a means to verify people's identities without entering information onto the internet, utilizing a local service, a lawyer's office, a bank, a notary public, a number of different things we already have established in our society. Use those, and that's a much better option. But only use those options for the things that are critical to keep kids out of. And we just assume the rest of the internet is not a place for kids. So keep your kids off of the internet in an unfettered access. The only other article I was going to cover here is the Blue Sky, just talking about they're going to be using that Kids Verify service for Wyoming and South Dakota, but that the reason this doesn't work in Mississippi is the Mississippi law is bat crap crazy and wants to know the age of absolutely everybody on the internet. Yeah, that's going to get overturned. It's just a matter of when, and the brain-dead Supreme Court allowed them to do that. So there is our thoughts on that principle there. Keep your kids off the internet. It is not a place. It is an adult place. We should not be sitting here trying to make it safe for kids. We should not be passing the new Kids Online Safety Act that they're trying to get passed. We should not be paying attention to what they're doing in UK. We should not be trying to age verify everybody for everything. Assume the internet is not for kids and keep kids off the internet unless you are directly supervising them. And if you can't manage how to do that, well, I'm sorry. That's a collateral of being, in many ways, a bad parent. And yes, I can actually say that because the fact of the matter is, I know a lot of parents who do a great job who can actually keep their kids under control. Or even better, why don't you teach them, slowly guide them in what is appropriate, what is not, give them very limited monitored access on your end, not on their end, so you can make any adjustments and corrections. The only involvement the government should have in any of this is forcing the companies to force them to have devices that we can secure on our own terms. Let me know your thoughts about that in the comments. Have a link, look at the link in the description for the whole news article. This is just a clip of it. So with that, thanks for watching. And we are going to jump on over to our next news topic. Welcome back to Switch to Linux. Well, this is the another one of our breakout stories from our weekly news roundup. The link is in the description for the entire show if you want to see all of it. The quick links, the SillyVille, the comments, and things like that. That'll be down below. But today we want to talk about this thought I've been having lately, looking at some of the new scams going in and some of the brilliant things people are doing. Should we hold big tech companies liable for the scams that are perpetrated utilizing their resources? Now, actually, I had a good conversation with a friend of mine about this today, just before going live, who was kind of looking at, are we policing their content or are we policing something else? And that really was a point of contention that we were thinking about. And as he originally thought, I'm talking about policing the content, I agree that's bad. Of course, he was thinking Section 230 type stuff. Well, Section 230 does not apply because Section 230 is specifically for publishing things. This is specifically for social media or YouTube or Rumble or Facebook or any of these types of things where a user can upload, you have a platform users to upload content. That's Section 230, and there's Section 230 protections that holds the company not liable for anything a user uploads, but they have to have a means to take actual damaging content down. So that is one of those factors. These are not 230 protections. These are not social media groups. These are development test servers. These are backend deals. These are just functions of the service which are being exploited by scammers in ways that many times these companies should be able to detect. So my proposal is, if somebody happens to get scammed, let's say they get scammed out of $10,000 because they clicked on a phishing link and it allowed somebody utilizing the big tech resources to break into their bank account and steal $10,000, I think that the company that hosted the scammer stuff should be liable to make good for that lost $10,000. And maybe if we start doing that, it's not going to take about 2 or 3 times they got to pay something out before they start cleaning up their platforms. And it might mean a loss of some of the free services. I'm okay with that. Because, hey, if you got to collect payment for some of the things, at least you know who to turn off pretty easily. But I wanted to kind of talk about this in light of a number of different things. Of course, going back to what we've talked about many, many times, so many times on the weekly news roundup, we stopped talking about it because it's like every week. So I pretty much stopped collecting these, but I want to bring it back for completion of our story today. Hackers exploiting companies' Google ad accounts to serve malicious ads. This is a scamming type called malvertising. The idea here is that a scammer will put together some website and they will buy ads, and then those ads are not legitimate products. They are pushing you to a malicious site. And when you get to this malicious site, then what ends up happening is they click it, they get malware installed or get a phishing attempt or do some other thing in which they are losing it. Now, in this case here, these companies are literally paying Google money to be listed as ads. And the thing that makes it hard to spot is that if you look at these, look at what's going on here, there is a sponsored ad up here. And you see it says ads.google.com. Well, if you go to your browser and you type ads.google.com, it takes you to what was the AdSense. I think it's just called Google Ads now. It takes you to the official Google page and you log in. The problem is this link over here does not actually take you to ads.google.com, because what is displayed right here in this link is manually inserted by the person buying the ad. Now, Google is supposed to verify that the ad you buy has a top-level domain, that's the google.com part, that matches where the ad's going, but they don't. They want the money. So over here, you do a search for Google Ads, you will get an ad for Google Ads that is actually taking you to a malware site. Right below it is the official googleads.com. So what they're doing is they are utilizing the ads to rank for commonly searched for things. So is it Rufus? Was it Rufus? It was Etcher. I think Etcher was one. You search for Etcher. You search for Sea Cleaner. A number of different tools or programs you might search for on the internet. They were taking out ads of these things. And if you click that first thing, which was an ad, which of course they want you to click because they're disabling your ad blockers and penalizing you for running them and making your life miserable if you do, you click on that ad and the ad actually takes you to a malicious place. So the tweet there is just kind of the same thing. So this is the ad over here. It says a sponsored ad over here. When you click on it, it would take you to sites.google.com, which is another Google service. This is a second Google service. So the ad buy is the first Google service. This takes you to the second Google service, which is basically a test HTML site where you can go places. You land there, it automatically forwards you to evil.com. And it might even request hey, Google login. Oh, I got to log into my Google account. You're not thinking about it, and you've just entered your username and password, and in the more sophisticated means, now they can intercept your MFA and break actually into your Google account. Meanwhile, you're sitting there fiddling around, not logged in at all. By the time you realize it, they've already changed your passwords, kicked you out, and have now fully accessed your Google account. all because they started with this Google product. Then they used this Google product to use some other website to steal your credentials that locks you out of your account or steals your bank information or encrypts your files and forces you to, pay money for a decryption key or whatever else. So all of these Google services were being used. Why is Google not held liable when so many of its services are used to scam so many people? Dropbox is one of the biggest things that's used for scams. I'm sorry, I will not click your Dropbox links. Find some other way to send me your files, folks. Okay. Dropbox scams. So the Dropbox scams are designed to look legit. So some of these are literally using Dropbox to host malicious files. So Dropbox is actually hosting malicious files. Some of these are spoof pages that simply look like Dropbox login pages. And so, obviously we can't do anything if somebody's spoofing the page. That's on you to investigate the URL you're on. But when I actually download a file I think is legitimate that's actually being distributed by Dropbox, what liability does Dropbox have to make sure its services are not pushing malware? I mean, you guys can ban my content if I say the word Cody, hypnotics, or COVID-19. You can instantly spot that and ban me for it. It's happened multiple times on my channel. I've gotten community strikes for talking about the open source project of Cody, which, by the way, is still for download in the Google Play Store. So you can download it, you can install it, you just can't do a tutorial on it on YouTube. You'll get a community strike. I know. I got 2 or 3 of them for Cody. Hypnotics, got a community strike for that. Open source application involved in Linux Mint. COVID-19, do we need to talk about that one again? It turned out, by the way, this guy was the one that was right on the side of the history. Yeah, isn't it funny? Y'all can ban me in a hot second for simply saying these words, but you can't discover you're distributing malware on your site? Dropbox should be liable when malware on their site leads to a financial loss of another person. I agree with that. So obviously, if it's mimicking it, looking closely like it, that doesn't apply. If just because you have to learn how to read your emails and stuff. But if the site used to actually phish you is actually a big tech site, and you can prove that, I think the company should be held liable. They can pay out a little bit of money. Let's go biblical on them and say they have to pay out threefold for their losses. There you go. This is a brand new one. You can now grok your way in. This is called grokking. This is a new exploit utilizing, of course, Twitter or X or whatever they're calling it this week. The Elon platform, right? So by manipulating the platform's ad system and exploiting Grok's trusted voice, cybercriminals are now smuggling poison link into promoted posts that look legitimate and then using Grok to vouch for them. So it fuses the reach of paid advertising with the credibility of AI-generated responses, creating a perfect storm for unsuspecting users. Security researchers warn that the method has already exposed millions of people to malicious websites, proving that even AI designed to inform and protect can be hijacked to deceive. So basically how it works here is you start by sending in a picture with metadata in it. Of course, that metadata always gets you. Okay, so description, author, all this kind of stuff. And so they upload the post, which isn't a problem. So there's this, and then the scammer will come down and say, hey, at Grok, where's this video from? Now it jumps into the metadata, searches it out, and says, hey, it's sourced from this site right here. Well, this is the malicious domain that is being amplified by Grok. So there's your grokking, just hiding the malicious stuff in the metadata, which is not scanned on the upload, and then just asking Grok to read out the metadata for you. There you go, folks. Of course, iCloud was used. This is actually a combination of iCloud and Microsoft. Apple and Microsoft can split the bill for your financial losses on this one. So this is utilizing the iCloud calendar. Now, why are they doing this? Well, the thing is, if they send it from their crazy domain, blah, blah, blah.xyz, you know, it's going to get blocked. You know, DMARC's going to be like, what is this nonsense? Your email filter, like, laughs at it. Kind of like if you didn't watch, you know, there was this crazy guy, a couple different big body cam channels covered it. There was this kind of crazy looking Russian dude with long greasy hair who hadn't showered, it looks like weeks, wearing a pink Powerpuff Girls shirt and had a rainbow phoenix on the side of his truck and like a whole PDF file den in the passenger seat of his car, like whole decked out in this whole like easily removed thick blanket with stuffed animals in the front, and he's got zip ties, a knife, and a 38 in his glove box, and he's driving on school property following little girls around, you know, and the police come up. It's like, you know, this is kind of crazy. That's, you know, that's how your email system should look at it if blah, blah, blah.xyz sends you an email. Okay. So it should, okay, this dude's creepy. Let's block him out, you know, treat him like the Powerpuff Girls Russian dude, you know. But when iCloud sends you something, oh, that's from a trusted domain. So now they're utilizing the iCloud because let's utilize that trusted domain that we can use to send all sorts of links out. So that's what they're doing. Of course, you need to find a place to send that thing from. We got to have a way to send that thing from. So let's just use Microsoft. That sounds great. So iCloud calendar invites are being abused to send callback phishing emails disguised as purchase notifications directly from Apple's email servers, making them more likely to bypass spam filters and land in targets' inboxes. So this was an email sent to Bleeping Computer. They basically said, hey, here's your $599 invoices. There's a problem, you know, click the link over here, of course, or give us a call. Now, the phone number, of course, is tied to a known scammer. That's kind of funny. Like, why are there lists of known scammer phone numbers? Why haven't they all been shut down? If you can block my video for saying COVID-19, maybe you can scrub every service in big tech from every website which happens to have the malicious phone number on it. Just thinking here, you know, just put that in there instead of COVID-19, you know. So the goal of the email is to trick recipients into thinking their PayPal account was fraudulently charged to make them click the button or call the support phone number here. So by abusing this, what they're doing is the calendar invite's going to send from no reply at email.apple.com, passing all of the SPF, DMARC, and DKIM security checks, signifying that it legitimately came from the Apple server. So it passes everything perfectly. So the problem is that the system is coming from a Microsoft 365 account, which also passes verification. This is billing3 at williamdickersonltd.onmicrosoft.com. So now it passes that one there because Microsoft, they really want everybody to have a Microsoft account. We don't care what you're using it for. Oh, you're using it to spam and fish and steal money from people? That's great. As long as you got the Microsoft account, we're happy. Will you do anything about it when it doesn't? No, we do not want to kick people off unless you engage in wrongthink. You talk about COVID-19 or Brian Duke, you're out of here. Okay, I mean, come on. Stealing money from people? Yeah, that's acceptable. So if Apple and Microsoft and Google and Dropbox, if their actual services are being used and that leads to actual financial losses in people, do we think that they should be held liable to return those funds to the stolen person? And hey, here's a thought. Turn it over to your insurance company and then work with your insurance company to figure out who the guy is. And then I'm probably willing to bet he's coming from a little country with a GDP about a fraction of that of Wyoming. So tell the company, hand the guy over to us and pay us what we just had to pay out for your guy, or we're going to shut your services off in your country. And most people are like, you know, they got the power. I don't have the power to go after the scammer who just scammed me for $10,000, but Google has both the power to do it and the money to do it. Maybe they, for giving us all of these free, wonderful services, maybe they should give us our money back, and they should then use their resources to reimburse themselves on their own dime. I think it'd be effective. And if that type of stuff happened, guess what? I bet we'd see a lot less scammers on the platforms. Scammers will be like, oh, I don't know, man. They're actually going to get me and steal all my money, and then my country's going to hand me over for fraud, and then I'll be over there in, alligator Alcatraz or something. I don't know. I think it's a good approach, though. Let me know if I'm onto something in the comments down there. Have a link. Look at the link in the comments down there for the whole show. This is just a small clip of the show. Thanks for watching, and let's jump on over to our next segment. All right, we're going to stop. Man, that was a long first segment, and I forgot to push the record button the first time. I'm going to have to download that. Hopefully it's ready tomorrow. Oh, man. I have elderberry green tea. That's good stuff. I was actually a little worried. I wasn't sure if I'd like elderberry green tea, but it's actually really good. Check it out. It's Bigelow brand, I believe. We got 10 watching over on Rumble. Everyone's probably watching stuff on Charles. So, Amos Huckleberry and the Anchorage Greetings. Radical Left is growing in America. They want us to live in fear, lose our jobs, break up our families. They want us to be deleted. We just think they're wrong. Yeah, and literally, it's like, yeah. Look at the unhinged crowd. Like, you know that Danielle, the person who is the developer of Elementary, actually listed in a Mastodon post that if something ever happens to me, it's either Tom Morosky at SwitchedTolinux or Brian Lunduke. That's unhinged lunacy from a person I did not even know who Danielle is at that time. Here's how little I know about that person. I did not know if it's Dan who transferred to Danielle or if Danielle was the old name and I'm actually committing dead dropping. I don't even know if the person went male to female, female to male. I haven't a clue because here's a thought, transgender people, I don't care. I just want to teach y'all to be private on the internet. And if you're like triggered by the fact that I tend to agree with more stuff on the right than on the left, that sounds like a you problem, folks. I don't know. 11 currently watching over on Odyssey. Reverend Odysseus. X-Screen Roblox greetings. 10 minutes. It nears. That's right. Can I sit by? Yes. You can sit by or stand by, whatever. Techboard greetings. Internet banks, gross. At least with the physical bank, you can bypass the phone prompt crap by talking to an actual human. Yep. Only concern is that privacy respecting services get caught in the crossfire, like Session or SimpleX being held liable because criminals use their service. Yeah, that is a legitimate issue. Wow, we only have 34 watching today. That's weird. I actually think most people are probably watching updates. On the terrible shooting yesterday. So that's going to rip our country, by the way. And you know, and I am sick of hearing these people like, we just need to have a conversation. Y'all just killed the guy trying to have the conversation. Maybe it's about time we, I don't know. Let's see. Mr. Snipes agrees with me. Yes, big tech should be liable for empowering scams. Commodore fan, greetings. Crazy week for sure. Had to get the breaker box at work totally replaced. Got a day off of work. Yep. Arching and causing voltage drops. Yikes. Hello, Silver Adventures. Greetings to you. KO2610. Greetings. Supporting the Clippy. Awesome. Get back into learning Japanese after running out of steam last year. Very good, man. Awesome. Congratulations. Tech guy. Hi. Hi, tech guy. Switched links over a year ago, and it's been a fantastic experience. Awesome. Willy Wonka's here. Can I have a chocolate bar, please? Or an everlasting gobstopper? No, I don't want an everlasting gobstopper. I think it's bad for my teeth, probably. I'm going to break my teeth on it. A chocolate bar. That'd be good. Willy Wonka, can I have a chocolate bar, please? Using Linux in various forms since the late 90s. There you go. Made the full switch in 2015. Very good. A lot of people are switching, and I think that number will go up in time. I think limited internet access is okay for kids. They aren't totally stupid and clueless when they become an adult. Yeah, so they're not. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very limited internet access. I think if I was fully sheltered as a kid, I would have been worse off if I was around for the early Wild West of pre-internet and internet eras. Yeah, and to be clear, we were not fully sheltered as kids. We just did things that weren't on the internet. And we got in a lot of trouble. I mean, I was arrested in 7th grade. What do you want, you know? You can read all about it in my book, Half My Life. I was dialing up Q-Link and BBS in late 87. I was 6. Finally got a copy. Yeah, that's right. I remember my mom giving me a cheap phone when I was a teen. It wasn't a smartphone. I could make calls, text, and had a camera. That was about it. Get online, had to wait until I get home. Yeah, and honestly, there's all these people like, but I need to be able to communicate with my kid. Get him a dumb phone. Do you want your kid to communicate, or do you want your kid on the hub? Cell phones in the late 90s when I was in high school are still expensive, but I knew rich kids that had them in their cars would just get a lot of trouble having them on campus. Yep. 2 kids had flip phones for years, at least halfway through the high school. One was fine with that. The other, it's not a smartphone, Dad. And your point. That's right. I had to remember getting in trouble with a few of my teachers in high school for having a laptop to take notes. Yeah. Having a laptop was cool back then. Yep. Hey, I had a laptop with Windows 3.1 on it. That was epic. Parents are not going to monitor their kids anymore. That's just sad. That's the problem. Yeah. Watery events. I hope everyone is doing well. Awesome. I hope you are doing well as well. Remember chat rooms back in the 90s? We'd get creeps trying to hit on you. I would mess with them and then tell them to, yep. I think you were like people in general were more open to the fact people could be trying to do that to them back then. IRC chat room. So IRC is the original chat room protocol, which is still the most used chat room protocol today. At one point in time, I was actually using it to monitor comments here. I should get back to that sometime. I don't know. AOL's chat rooms were cool at first. They got toxic after a while. Let's see. Or AOL, for some reason, I never got to give it a try. Yeah, I never gave AOL a try. Baud rate's 14.4, 28.8. He must either had the 14.4 or the 28.8. I had a 33.6 in my first computer. Walking the alley in the dark is also dangerous too. Yep. Just had my own phone line because I was online too much. Never had a phone line that could ever attain anything past 14.4. Yep. Got in trouble with the ex a few times when I was online. She was trying to call me. Yep. Yeah, back when Pizza Hut was good. Concerned with privacy when it comes to age verification. Currently in the 40s now. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, I don't want to give up all that information. Good evening, War Thunder. Greetings. We've had cell phones then. It was 25 cents a minute for outgoing calls, 10 cents page for text. Yeah, I remember those days. Good luck keeping kids off the internet. Yeah, it is good luck, but it's also a task and a challenge. Stop using the internet before I will do age verification online. Grew up with the internet, I can do it again. Yep. Or just go straight dark web. Someone spilled the tea. People don't learn sticks and stones anymore. Yep. Innocently chaotic hamster. Watch out. That's right. It's been a while since anybody thought like that. I was old back then. Hello, Night of Light. Greetings to you. Yes, kids were yelled at to get off the phone so you could dial up to connect to work. Yep. You got 4 to 8 hours a week on the weekends if I was lucky. Mom did it because my stepdad was a hothead. Uh-oh. Banhammer is here. Age verification AI stuff is intense. You will wake up in the morning and you'll never know where the internet will take you. Yep. So we change the default search. There you go. Yep. Don't use Google search unless you absolutely necessary. Yeah. Even that, it's getting worse and worse. uBlock Origin and Privacy Badger do wonders for blocking ads. Yeah. And the funny thing is, I used to allow ads on YouTube all day long. I stopped when they got too aggressive. So now I'm just opposed to any ad at all. Like, I literally cringe inside when an ad shows up anywhere. Like, anywhere in the world. Let's see. You C Drive and Jellyfin. Just don't click the link. There you go. Just Got Linux does a good tutorial about it. Just uses Firefox too. Said my account either didn't use it. Probably look into deleting it. We got a $10 super chat. Grayson, thank you very much. I just used Kaji to pretend and lost access to Amazon and Netflix accounts by using AI assistants. Received accurate answers that don't lead to scam phone numbers. Wait, what? Is Kaji to pretend that I lost access? Okay. Use Kaji to pretend you lost access to Amazon and Netflix accounts by using AI assistants, and I received accurate answers that don't lead to scam phone numbers. Very nice. That's interesting. Actually never used Plesk, went right to Jellyfin. Yeah, I did a video looking at Plesk, but Jellyfin is definitely way better. All right, let me check really quick. As long as we don't have 100 messages on Matrix, I will look over there. Let's see. I think a lot of these too, a lot of our guys on Matrix, they're IRC bridging their comments, so I've already read their comments if they're on YouTube. Paid for the privilege. Select deletion. Stay safe with these resources and tips. One of them being use voice verification. Yeah, that's not it. Slab City is more dangerous than San Francisco. Yeah. Hey, San Francisco, I mean, there's at least running water and electricity in most parts of San Francisco. They don't burn spare tires for warmth at night. Like, you wake up at Slab City in the wintertime, like, it doesn't get super cold, but it'll get down to like the 40s or 50s in January. And you wake up in the morning and the whole place reeks of burning tire. Everyone just built bonfires burning tires to stay warm. There's no services out there at all. Yeah, Slab City is an interesting place. Let's see. DuckDuckGo has options. Recommend start page. Another decent choice. Cirex is a good option. Yep. Yeah, I use start page on about half my computers. DuckDuckGo on about half my computers. And so that's that's what I use. Those two. I think I have Brave on a couple of them. And then I will jump to other ones, jump between the different ones as I need. All right, we are going to jump on over to our QuickLines. So we'll jump on over to QuickLines, and then we will feed the kitties. No, QuickLines, SillyVille, feed the kitties. Right, kitty? The kitty's over there kind of watching me. Like, she's doing that creepy thing where she's sleeping with her eyes open. It's kind of gross. All right, let's jump over to QuickLines. First up in QuickLines, Gnome49 seeking to completely disable X has to turn it back on for a little bit. Whoops. Turns out the world's not ready to give up X. So this is not turning on X support inside of the GNOME desktop environment. This is just GDM. So if you remember, there's the GDM is one of the login managers that you use. You have GDM is generally used for GNOME. You have LightDM, generally used for like Ubuntu's, Linux Mints, things like that. I can never remember the one that Plasma uses. Is it SDDX or something like that? I don't know. SDD something. It's just not STD something, you know. But there's a separate one for Plasma as well. So these are the login screens. And the problem is that if you were running other desktop environments like Cinnamon that still uses X by default, and you had GDM, you could not select to use the Cinnamon session with X. So you couldn't enable that. So what they did is when they released the release candidate for Gnome49 GDM, they put the support for the X back in so you can at least log into a non-GNOME desktop with X. So that's kind of what's going on there, but they are still they're committed to removing it entirely because these people are crazy. They're the kinds of ones that kind of want to delete myself and Lunduke and things like that because, you know, we actually think rationally and logically. With actual objectivity and not postmodern thought. So they just think that the whole world should go with Wayland, despite it's not ready yet. I don't know. Opening a can of worms there. I'm just mad at events of this week, so deal with it. All right. Next, our dash cam. Of course, everybody should have a dash cam, folks. I have a dash cam. Everybody should have a dash cam. They will possibly save you tons if you get into an accident. They could help an innocent victim if your dash cam catches a victim. I love watching Wham Bam Dash Cam is the best of the dash cam channels. They have one for dash cam security cams, Teslas, and they have another, I think it's a Tesla done in Spanish or something as well. So I definitely support that channel. Have a look at those. But for whatever you do, folks, do not ever get a dash cam that uploads your files to the cloud. Now, this unfortunately is one of the brands of dash cams that is embedded in the cars, that have dash cams embedded in them. And so you may not have a choice, but if you have Nexar dash cams, well, that video database was leaked and people got it all. So this one offers automated cloud uploads of critical incidents, AI-driven insights, and real-time road alerts. It offers customers remote video streaming, live GPS tracking, and easy-to-share video evidence. Nexar also sells access to reportedly blurred images captured by the cameras and other related data to other companies. It monetizes users' data and recordings by repackaging them into various products. One of those is the company's City Stream Map, which uses recent blurred images taken by dashcam, superimposes them on publicly available maps, and annotates things like yield or stop signs, damage roads, and other hazards. So the problem is, of course, is they're collecting and gathering a bunch of data and selling it, and selling your GPS data and everything else because advertisers want that rich data. Unfortunately, it is an absolute privacy nightmare, embarrassing security. It took only 2 hours for the hacker to breach the Nexar system. They say it'd be very surprised if no one, foreign government, or just a bad actor were already tapping all their customer data. Users who contributed to CityStream feature do so with either opt-in or opt-out consent, depending on the jurisdiction. So in other words, hey, if there's no law against it, we opt you in automatically. You have to explicitly opt out. Some places like California, they want you to opt in, those rats, you know. I think they're doing right. Of course, how did all this happen? Well, it was an AWS leaky calendar again. Look at that. Put the data in there. It was leaking like a sieve. 130 terabytes worth of data. How wonderful. Hackers were able to access AWS calendar because it was embedded in nearly every dash cam, was the key to the database. Oh dear. They fixed the issue after being contacted by 404 Media this week, but the level of trust should be expected from a company that stores dashcam and CCTV images like this has a serious hit. By the way, if they're collecting all that GPS data or even the pictures, yeah, they can figure out where you live pretty quick. That's wonderful. I don't know how I feel about this one, but Signal introduces free and paid backup plans for your chats. So this is one of the things. Signal has never really had a way that you could back up your chats. You could transfer them from phone to phone by putting them in like close proximity or things like that, but you couldn't actually back them up for later. So, you know, if your phone took a drink in the Super Bowl there, yeah, your content, all of your messages are shot. And so they're now introducing a means, and I don't know how I feel about this because their first way is to store all of your messages on their server. They're encrypted for sure. They say they don't keep any of the encryption stuff. I think we can probably trust them in this. But it's still the fact that your messages are stored on their servers, which, by the way, is something for a long time they said they would never want to do. So suddenly they're going backwards on this, and it makes me wonder why. Very interesting. Now, they are saying that down the road we will have the option to save them to an external file. So you'd figure that if they want to really be privacy focused, that's the first thing you should do. Save it to the external file, transfer that file into your backups, restore that file as you need. Is it a little bit more time? Yes, it is. But the fact of the matter is it is infinitely more private than this cockamamie idea they have of storing your messages on their server, even if they are encrypted. So they're going up to 100 megabytes and 45 days worth of media. And if you want more than that, you have to pay for it. What was the cost of it? It was like $2.99 or something for the cost. So $1.99 per month. Users who want to store beyond 45 days, they're offering $199 $1.99 per month paid plan with 100 gigabytes of storage. So you go free tier, 100 megabytes of message storage, up to 100 gigabytes of storage for $1.99 a month. This is Signal's first paid feature, and the company said it's charging users to assist with the cost of storage in privacy-preserving way. Users will receive a 64-character recovery key that is generated on the device to lock their backups. And they say that they have plans to allow users to save a backup archive wherever they want in the future, but they're not doing that yet. Figure that's the first thing you should do if you're really trying to be privacy focused here. So users will receive this key. Of course, they don't store it, connecting it to, despite having a phone number. I guess they're not. I don't know. I don't know how they're doing it, but I'm just a little bit leery about storing all of your chat stuff on their particular servers. TP-Link has been infected with a botnet that is targeting Microsoft 365 accounts, and this is so egregious that they are actually patching firmware for end-of-life devices, especially since 2 of those devices are actually white-labeled into some American and European ISP routers that they give you. So the TP-Link Archer C7 and TLRW841N/ND routers are rebranded for distribution to customers in Europe and North America. Those 2 specifically have this particular botnet feature in it. So, you know, your router will be involved in botnets and attempting to breach into Microsoft accounts. That's awesome, you know. I didn't even know you were doing the Lord's work there, did you? But you were. Of course, if you are using one of those 2 TP-Link routers, they actually did issue a firmware, even though they are end of life. So if you have any of those, you know, for the Lord's sake, please update your router, folks. But if you can't do that, not in a position to do that, they have issued a firmware. Definitely upgrade the firmware. This is interesting. Was your Plex account compromised? Yeah. So Plex itself is getting attacked a little bit more. They are a service, like, I did some quick experimenting with Plex, and the problem I had with Plex is if I wanted to run a Plex server in all of its glory, regardless, I still had to create an account with them, even if I'm self-hosting it. If I'm hosting it on a Raspberry Pi in my house, opening my network to be able to access it from outside in order to use my device outside my network, I still had to register with Plex. I find that egregious because I am providing the equipment, I am providing the internet space. You don't need to be involved. And of course, it was that database, by the way, that was leaked. So, you know, that verification database that everybody had to sign up for in order to use your Plex account the way you wanted to use it. Yeah, that all got leaked out, including your passwords and things like that. So, you know, change all those passwords, enable 2-factor authentication, and hope that they're not already working on breaking that. So that's kind of what they are up to there. Of course, I highly recommend Jellyfin instead. It does everything Plex does, only better, and it doesn't require you to log into anything. So I'll use Jellyfin, folks. Get off of Plex. There's numerous other controversial things that we may actually be investigating for a deeper video down the road. Well, now we have a ransomware attack attacking a blood center. So this is New York Blood Center. It is the largest blood center, I think, was it in the country or in the world? It is huge. And yeah, they got in there. They stole a bunch of files. And, you know, for a ransom, you could get the files deleted. There you go. Otherwise, they're going to leak out all of that information. So name, social security number, driver's license, or other government identification number. See, isn't that wonderful? They want to verify your ID, man. We're just going to store it unsecured in the database. How wonderful. Financial information, if you participated in direct deposit. How wonderful. Hey, now they have access to they have your social security number, your driver's license, and your financial information. Isn't that awesome? It says direct deposit. This isn't a credit card that expires. It's like your bank routing number, which you can keep for years unless you have a reason to change it. They get it all, folks. They get it all. You guys hear about the new half-price scheme? I didn't include it in here. I was watching a video on it the other day. But it's making the rounds, of course, on TikTok. Maybe TikTok should be held liable for this as well, going back to our previous segment. So these guys are all running around on TikTok, although that is a Section 230 issue. So, yeah, okay. They get a pass because it is the information is being spread on this stuff, not the actual tools to do it. So, of course, in the half-price scheme, these schemers get access to information just like this. And instead of them using it because they know their likelihood of getting caught is pretty good, they just tell you, hey, you give us half of the money and we will use information we have to pay the whole bill. And so your rent's $1,000, you give them $500, they go and in many cases legitimately pay your $1,000 rent. Dude, that sounds like a deal, except it was stolen information. So when the person who owns that stuff discovers it and issues chargebacks, well, now you're going to get hit with the penalties and things, and you might even get a knock on the door for using stolen information to pay your bills. It's a brilliant new scam that the scammers have, because they're taking money directly from you and then disappearing, and you're the one that's actually on the hook with your name attached to this giant payment with the stolen information. Brilliant. Well, look at that. The blood bank just provided a lot of information for people to use it. If you've ever used that particular blood bank, you might think about changing your bank numbers, your driver's license number, hey, maybe even your social security number. We don't know exactly which ransomware group's behind it, but they're scumbags because they're attacking a blood donation center. Well, the AI startup Anthropic agrees to pay $1.5 billion to settle the book piracy class action lawsuit. How wonderful. So $1.5 billion to settle class action lawsuit by book authors who say the company took pirated copies of their book. The company has agreed to pay about $3,000 for each of an estimated 500,000 books covered in the settlement. That's actually pretty good. Now, of course, is the author getting all that, or are the lawyers getting most of that and the author will get like $1 a book? That'd be good, you know. Hey, at least I sold an e-copy for all that data theft. So what's interesting here is the federal judge that dealt a mixed ruling, finding that training AI on copyrighted books was not in and of itself illegal, but Anthropic wrongfully acquired millions of books through piracy websites. So there you go, folks. How wonderful. Well, Firefox now adds Copilot chatbot to the new tab widgets, you know, and they're over here like, why aren't people using Firefox anymore? Because you've made it a bloated AI-filled nightmare. That's why. Get back to building a good web browser again. On my last test, the one we tested the other day, the Linux distro we tested the other day, that had one of the newest versions of Firefox. So there's a whole new tab over here. Don't give a crap. Delete. You know? It's like Firefox. Understand this, Firefox. If anybody at all with influence at Firefox is listening to the sound of my voice, hey people, would you just get back to building a web browser and start looking at the statistics? Nobody wants AI crammed down their throat everywhere. If you want to have AI, have your development team in a corner, build an add-on extension that if I want the AI, I can install the official Firefox Mozilla AI crap. Keep it out of my browser. You're talking about putting Copilot in here now? Oh yeah, I really want my privacy browser connected to the biggest data thief on the internet. Yeah, sounds like a blast. Firefox's sidebar already offers OpenAI's ChatGPT, Claude, Mistral, Gemini, Hugging Chat. Yeah, it previously offered Hugging Chat. Now, the models for these are not on the browser by default until you actually use them. Once you click them to use them, then it downloads the models. Once you click that button, it's safe to assume every single thing you do is probably handed back to those companies, so don't do that. But this is the type of crap, it should not be in the browser. There's no reason this needs to be in the browser. Make it an add-on. And if I want to use the crappy AI, I will install an add-on to my browser. This is the approach Vivaldi's doing right now, and it's working for them because people are sick of AI being crammed everywhere. It is not useful. It gets in the way. It has privacy implications. Firefox, it has privacy implications. You claim to be a privacy browser. Should I speak in a whispered voice like Joe Biden? It's a privacy browser. Okay. Okay. Okay, never mind. And like those other chatbots there are usage limits and privacy policies for some account for creation needed. In testing, Copilot would only generate half of the summary for a web page, telling me it's too long to produce without signing in or signing up for an account. So wonderful. The Copilot's just an upsell for more Microsoft crap. Maybe they're like, hey, we got to diversify. Maybe we can get Microsoft to give us money now, you know. Despite making noise on its own, device AI features that are privacy oriented, Mozilla is bullish on the extent for external ones. Yeah. Let's see what people are saying in the comments. If there is comments, are there comments? We've got 20 comments down here. Okay, Firefox fighting first fight. Sadly, the number of comments in this one last time I read them were somewhat positive towards it, which is kind of sad. You may not agree with all current endeavors, but they got focus and purpose back. They do not have focus and purpose back. They're cramming AI, which people overwhelmingly don't want, into their browser. I don't miss Firefox anymore. Okay. Hopefully Zen will not add any of this AI crap to their browser. They added it in Firefox beta. I haven't really used Copilot ever. Not if I would ever use it. If I work, don't use ChatGPT, blah, blah, blah. Have that option along with them is a great use case for this guy. Okay, this guy's on board with it. Okay, that's just commenting on the rounded corner stuff. Finally, great idea by Mozilla. After painfully long getting potentially iGoogle vibes to the given. The new tab wallpapers. Okay, they're talking kind of about the new tabs features. Are Mozilla just a bunch of idiots or what? Come on now. You're excited about... you're not excited about Mozilla's newest feature offering AI chatbots technology embedded in your browser? This kind of interactive, innovative independence is bound to make endless revenue, improve browser speed at lightning levels, finally overtaking Chrome, and liberate us from the worries about their reliance on Google. It's Copilot, created by Microsoft, a wholly trustworthy open source company noted for respecting user privacy. Google and Microsoft together at last. Open source heaven. Couldn't help myself. Yeah. Days like this. Ugh. I like AI and chatbots, but this seems rather pointless when I can open Copilot or any other chatbot in a new tab and can pin it if I want to. Is there any way to turn off all these AI features to make the browser lightweight? This is where we get into, if you don't actually use them, it doesn't download the models. The problem is they're still there. And so, yeah, people are not on board with this, Firefox. Get with it. This one's pure gold. Sam Altman now says that bots are making social media feel fake. Y'all turn this crap on the world, dude. Yeah, y'all turn this crap on the world. Ex-enthusiast and Reddit shareholder Sam Altman had an epiphany on Monday. Bots have made it impossible to determine whether social media posts are really written by humans, he posted. Yes, congratulations, Sam Altman. You single-handedly destroyed the internet. Some of these altruistic people really are morons, aren't they? Is it possible to switch to codecs without posting a topic on Reddit? So basically, every single thing which was changing codecs was posting it on Reddit. This left Altman wondering how many of those posts were from real humans. I have had the strangest experience reading this. I assume it's all fake or bots, even though in this case, I know codecs growth is really strong and the trend is real, he confessed. So to decode that a little, he's accusing humans of starting to sound like LLMs, even though LLMs, spearheaded by OpenAI, were literally invented to mimic human conversations right down to the M-dash. So, you know, woe is me. The internet is full of bots. We can't distinguish it anymore. We ought to blame the people who create... Oh, wait, never mind. You see, and this is the guy that wants to solve the problem and figure out who's fake on the internet by scanning everybody's retina and creating a global database of all human identities. Can we say mark of the beast? Just a thought. So there you go. Oh, this was neat down here. University of Amsterdam built a social network composed entirely of bots and found that the bots, too, soon formed clicks and echo chambers for themselves. So it's not just us. It's just social media itself is poison. All right, so in a court filing, Google concedes that the open web is in rapid decline. And then, of course, when we call that on it, they backtrack. No, we don't mean the web's dying. please don't split us up, Mr. Judge, Google made a startling claim, quote, "The fact is that today the open web is already in rapid decline," end quote. That is their appeal on their ad tech antitrust case. All right, so Google says that forcing it to divest of AdX Marketplace would hasten the demise of the wide swaths of the web that are dependent on advertising revenue. Google increasingly is the internet. Websites have no choice but to adhere to Google standards for search and ads because there's no substantial competition. Like there's ads on Amazon, but for Amazon. There's ads for Facebook, but for Facebook. But if you want to put ads on your website, there's like Google and a couple that push nothing but malware and scam. Of course, Google also pushes malware and scam. So maybe we should just find business models that do not rely on advertisements on the internet. There's a thought. Do sponsored links and direct banners and control it directly. You just got to have a site with traffic first. All right, so Google is increasingly is the internet. Okay, so as users become increasingly frustrated with AI searches, Google often claims people actually love AI search and are sending many clicks to the web as ever. Now that its golden goose is on the line, the open web is suddenly in rapid decline. Oh, wonderful. So Google's position is that the entire passage is referring to open web advertising, not the open web itself. No, we just meant advertising. You're hurting our advertising. So Google isn't just putting ads on websites, it's putting it in big mobile apps. And time spent on non-social and non-video content is stagnant or slightly declining. As a result, display ads on open web earn less. So yes, indeed, Google is affirming that the open web is indeed dying. How wonderful. Well, we are going to jump on into SillyVille next. I'm going to feed these beasts over here. There's at least one of them on the bed right now. Let's just have a look at SillyVille. First up in SillyVille, this isn't really tech except, hey, it's Batman. But a guy in a Batman pajamas takes down a burglar and detains him until the police arrive. Yeah, baby. So here's a picture of Batman with the police officers. He's hearing something in South Florida. He busts out there and finds a guy. What was he trying to do? I think he was trying to break into something or steal a car. Whatever it was. Anyway, he went out there and dressed as Batman, detained the guy until the police show up. So there you have it. Here's Batman and the police officers in South Florida. So there you go. I don't know what's... Should I be concerned that you have this guy that looks at least into his 30s and 40s, and is he actually going to bed at night in Batman pajamas? This is a little disturbing. I don't know. I got stuff I wear to sleep. It's over here. I'm actually getting ready to do laundry after a show. It's just a long sleeve shirt when it's cold, a short sleeve shirt. I got something like, not quite sweatpants, like kind of workout pants here, that's what I use. I'm not sporting the Batman. Should I be sporting Batman, guys? Should I bust out there in a beard and Barney pajamas or something? Oh, maybe I should do pink Powerpuff Girls pajamas. Yeah. I don't know. Let me know. Is it disturbing that this old dude with a beard is over there wearing Batman pajamas to bed? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Maybe I just grew up or something. I don't know. One Mark Zuckerberg is suing the other Mark Zuckerberg for banning his Facebook account. There you go. So this is a lawyer. Of course, if you're going to make somebody mad whose name is also Mark Zuckerberg, probably make sure it's not a lawyer. So this guy's name is Mark Zuckerberg, and to his defense, his practice has been running for about 15, 20 years longer than Facebook has been in existence. But hey, everyone's on Facebook. So the lawyer, who does use his initials in there, I think it's D, like Mark D. Zuckerberg, he is a lawyer, and he created a Facebook page, and it's very clearly a lawyer's page. It's very clearly in, what's this, Minnesota, I think. I forget where it is. But the problem is that the Facebook keeps on taking down his business page for attempting to spoof Mark Zuckerberg. Now, this is particularly frustrating to me because there is such a problem with malicious accounts on Facebook, and we do not even have the basic means to go in and report them as fake tech support scams. That's literally there. There is no option for that. Pretending to be someone else. How do I know these? Like pretending to be somebody else, pushing illegal content, abusive behavior, something else. Those are your only options. How do I know this? Because every week, my clients that I use, I have to log into their Facebook account to run some stuff on. Every single week, we get the exact same copy-paste message. Your account is set to be deleted. We are meta support. You need to call us at this number to resolve the problem. Every week. It's copy and pasted, Facebook. You can figure out how to say, oh, it's the account is copy and pasting the same crap, pretending to be meta support team. They're not meta support team. Auto delete, auto ban the whole country block that's using them. Okay, this is not hard, but Mark D. Zuckerberg, the actual bankruptcy attorney who's actually trying to do business in the public square, who, oh, by the way, spent $10,000 on Facebook ads, for the 8th time had his Facebook account deleted, and they will refuse to give him his money back. Well, what do we have now? We have a lawyer, and he's a bankruptcy lawyer, so they're a particular kind of interesting. He has actually lost money in it, and he has done everything he can to rectify the situation. Oh, he's winning this lawsuit. I promise you that one. Hopefully they'll just settle and be like, oh yeah, we're going to reinstate your account. We're going to flag your account to not delete. And yeah, we're going to give you all your ad credit back. That's literally all the guy wants. But he can't seem to get any work because if you've ever attempted to communicate with Facebook, yeah, you may as well be talking to a brick wall. Yeah, actually, in their defense, it's easier to talk to Facebook than Google or Microsoft, in all honesty. But it's still not particularly easy. Okay, it's like talking to a wooden wall, and the guy that you're trying to talk to is on the other side of it. He can't quite hear you, but you know, at least there's somebody over there. And pretty much all he wants is that. But he was sued. I was sued by the state of Washington due to mistaken identity. Thought was founder of Facebook account who was accused of endangering adult news service. Facebook scam, promised money from Mark Zuckerberg. I was inundated with calls and emails from strangers, receiving phone calls. I received 100+ friend requests daily from people, confusing me with the other Mark Zuckerberg. I received phone calls in my office every other day from angry people demanding tech support or help with Facebook. I can't use my name without making appointments or reservations because people assume it's a prank call. Get Venmo payment requests and money solicitations from total strangers. While speaking in Las Vegas, a limo driver was waiting for me at the bottom of the escalator with a sign reading Mark Zuckerberg, causing chaos and large disappointment when I'd waited. 23andMe, I had over 753 relatives, many of whom immediately requested money asking for favors. Routinely received death threats and harassment on the app. Messages directed towards Mark Zuckerberg. Wonderful. So, you know, figure they'll have a way around this, especially since they're kind of forcing everything. Like, he's actually said he's given them his ID multiple times. To, I guess, further brain rot or something, Lenovo, I'm going to have to, like, remove a Lenovo off of my recommended PC list for this nonsense atrocity. They now have a laptop with a screen you can swivel into a portrait mode. That's enough internet for me today. That just put me over the top. What on God's green earth does this have a purpose for, other than I can watch my TikTok videos bigger? I can engage in faster, more clearly defined brain rot. How wonderful. So this is a brand new Lenovo with a swivel up display allowing you to, oh God, watch content like, why? Like, squares were bad enough. Widescreen was pretty cool. Now we got these giant portrait modes. Maybe this is contributing to the mental. Maybe kids watching videos like this all day long is contributing to the mental illness of our society. I wonder if that's not it. I'm wondering. You have to be a psychopath to enjoy this. All right. Well, to wrap it up, we do have new emojis. Yeah. We got a POW cloud, you know, so now you can do your na-na-na-na-na-na-na Batman stuff and have the POW cloud to go with it. We got a Bigfoot. They actually call it hairy creature because apparently Bigfoot they didn't want to use. We got an orca killer whale. We have a landslide, a trombone, a treasure chest. And there's actually another one. There's other ones here. We have a gender-neutral ballet dancer. No, that's enough internet for me too. I don't know. So there are a bunch of new emojis. You can have a look at these guys once you get your Unicode 17. You now can put these. Now, if I need to see, is tinfoil hat over here yet? I don't think tinfoil hat's here yet. Once we have the trifecta of a Bigfoot, a tinfoil hat, and the alien, then it is time for the alien revolution to take over. They missed the opportunity because apparently the aliens are up there. We hit one, I guess, with a drone or something. I haven't watched the alien news. It doesn't particularly interest me. But I'll tell you, it doesn't because, I am an alien, of course. If you guys have been around my channel for a long time, you know I am a reptilian alien, and my cat down there is my handler. But anyway, that being said, we got the Bigfoot. We have the alien. All we need now is the tinfoil hat, and that is the trifecta that ushers the alien race onto the planet. So we're there. We're almost there. Well, if you believe that, you might want to get yourself your own alien in a tinfoil hat, t-shirt, or hoodie or something like that. These are available at shop.switchedtolinux.com. You can pick up hats. You can even pick up look at this, a baby onesie with an alien and a tinfoil hat on it. That'll make your mother-in-law mad, right? So you can pick these guys up, and over here at shop.switchedtolinux.com, we got a number of different varieties of hats, coffee cups, things like that, all sorts of other fun toys, odds and ends like that. With that, guys, thank you for watching, and we will jump on over to Feed the Beasts next. So there's one cat over there right now. I'll see if I can rustle up a second cat or not, but sure, he might show up when I start moving around that that treat bag. Kitty, want some kitty treats? You want some kitty treats? You want some kitty treats? Come on. Kitty treats. Come on, buddy. All right. So that will conclude our main content portion. We are going to hang out and read comments until our comments are exhausted. And we'll keep the kitty up there until the kitties move. And then jump on over. Have a look over on Rumble 17 watching over there. IDGAF Plus community. I used to use Pigeon to sign with my Yahoo Messenger account because it blocked bots and chats, and there were some cool extensions. And it was much more exciting before most of the traffic got consolidated to a few more platforms. Yeah. Didn't realize that Netflix had ads until we were watching something at my friend's house, and I was reminded why Brave is a wonderful web browser. There you go. Pounce on the like button like a kitty, like a Van Panther. That's right. All right, my dash cam proved that an accident was caused by someone that ran a red light and hit me. Yep, there you go. Bing, boing. Uh-oh, the behind cat jumped. All right, let's see. We got 9 currently watching over on Odyssey. Everyone's shouting from the rooftops. There was the radical left that did it, yet the shooter's still at large. So how do you draw this conclusion? Yeah. It was the stuff that was on the gun. Of course, could that be a plant? Maybe. I don't know. But there's a lot more questions and things. I don't know. If I get asked to verify my age, I'm going back to using VPNs. Yep. Strange times, folks. Stay safe out there. Hope all's well. Yeah. Mozilla's run by nut bars. Yep. Look forward to Ladybird's release. I'm not holding my breath on that. They're making great progress. I don't care much about the hate on Firefox. Still my number one choice for browsing. Get what you think. Mozilla's run by a number of nut bars. Firefox is spyware. Open source. Yeah, I reject the fact that it would be spyware. It is open sourced. It is still the one I tend to use the most, but still, it's crazy. Need Star Trek TOS pajamas like I had when I was a kid. 10K spent on Facebook ads. What a loser. If I ever need a lawyer, certainly won't go with that guy. Certainly some kind of an alien. Enjoy the company of cats than women. Kitty's best friend. Cats are funny little beasts. That's right. They are funny little beasts. All right. All right. Got 28 currently watching on Zatubies. Wow, really low view count for today. But I said, in light of everything going on in the world, I understand why. I think a lot of people are watching other stuff. I've Tor for privacy. Neither of my 2 cats ever slept with their eyes open. Gnome Dad's finding out removing decades of X code isn't straightforward. Yeah. Cars my family have dash cams. If all you can afford is a base one, like a Walmart odd brand one that records 720p, get it. Yeah, I have a Kenwood 1080p camera. I've got one, but no. Cloud saves data the micro SD card. Yep, that's what mine does. Okay, screws in the light bulb socket. Let's see. I got a dash cam that I need to remount in my car. Mount came down due to heat this summer. Uh-oh. I have very cheap Wi-Fi cameras in my cars. No cloud storage, just a micro SD. Cool going on a trip and getting the SD card transferred and the trip having a look at it. Yep. How is saving the data to a server easier than just having the app split it into an XML or something like that? I don't know. Is there any way I can provide a markdown file to SwitchedTolinux regarding testing AI to test if it can provide accurate information to those who lost their passwords? They can't. Wait. Is there any way I can provide a markdown file to SwitchedTolinux regarding testing AI? See if it can prove accurate information to those who lost their passwords to their accounts. I have no idea what you're looking to do there. Shoot me an email, I guess. Copilot Y. I'm anti-Google, anti-Microsoft kind of guy. Desires privacy. Yeah. I don't want my Firefox browser bloated. Yep. You'll have AI and you will not like it. That's right. Trying to use them. Keep giving me reasons to switch browsers again. Use Kaji's AI for goodness sake. It's good enough for me. AI fatigue. Can't wait for this fad to run its course. Yeah, it might be the last fad, unfortunately. Is Leo any good? I don't know. I disabled that crap as soon as I got Brave installed. As soon as it showed up, I'm like, nope, dead. Trustworthy open source company, Microsoft? Fat chance, yeah. Dead internet is real. It's over. Time to pack it up and call it a life. Yeah. Things that made me scratch my head. Batman. Florida man. At least it's not Batman underoos. This is true. All right. Cares I'm in my 40s and still have a green TMNT t-shirt that I do yard work in. Sonic shirts, that's fine. A few Sonic shirts as well. And can man put away child's things, grew up in, including the fear of childlessness and desire to grow up. Well, actually, C.S. Lewis was taking that from the Bible. It's from the Apostle Paul. When I was a child, I acted as a child, did childish things. When I become a man, I put away childish things. I forget. I think it's in 1 Corinthians, if I remember correctly. Corporations can be utter crazy at times. Yep. Lenovo Bing Bong Slim. There you go. Making better. Let's see. Smartphones and laptops hurt my back when it comes to small screens and mobile devices. I have visual disability. Oh, that's not good. Portrait mode is awesome for reading PDF files and Office documents. I guess there's an application. I don't care for all these crazy emojis. My 3-monitor setup has the left monitor in portrait mode. Bermuda Triangle emoji, please. That'd be good. Okay, I guess the EPUB account. I don't know. I might be swayed over for that. Gave all the $5 for the Sony monitor. It worked for me with limited desk space at work. Yep. Which had the brain cell. I'm going back into the writing LDAP editor for documenting. Open LDPA. Actually, how much orange does a cat need before they're considered an orange cat? I don't know. One of mine is definitely mostly orange. The other one's 50-50 orange and white. Oh dear, Cheesy Cake's going to get me one day. Oh boy. Yeah, I heard this Zuck suing Zuck. The human Zuck suing the Robo Zuck. Going to check in on our comments on Matrix here. All right, let's see. No one's finding X is more rooted in than they thought. Yeah. You'll use Wayland and you'll be happy. Probably will once Cinnamon supports it and works properly. Until then, I'm uninterested in disrupting my computing experience. Amen to that. Guess I don't understand the hurry and popping ourselves in the foot. What scares me is I had a TP-Link Archer C7 previously. Oh boy. Paid like $6 at a thrift store for the TP-Link stuff. Yep. Plex, unfortunate. They had a really great service, but are ruining it. Went straight to Jellyfin due to the internet account requirements and had poor internet at the time. Yep. Batman. I heard of this. Yep. All right. That is our content. Let's see. FBI update on the shooter now. Ooh. Let's have a look. Get back LAPT. There's a live update. They've recovered a high-powered bolt-action rifle. We know. Okay, manhunt for the shooter. $100,000 reward for information leading to the identity and arrest. They've recovered the firearm. J.D. Vance and Second Lady Usha Vance arrived in Arizona this evening with Kirk's casket on board Air Force Two. Okay, so that would be a live press conference, so I can't look at the live press conference. But yeah, we are wrapping up very shortly, so if anybody is interested, I will probably turn that on myself and watch that. I'm going to be looking for that. Fox Live now has the conference. They are showing new footage. Yeah, we are going to wrap up the show here. Thanks for watching, folks, and we will get the shorter versions out. That one was like 40 minutes, but we'll get the shorter edited versions down out here, and then we'll be back. Hopefully Saturday, I should have a video. I may not actually have a video this Saturday. I might skip this Saturday's video just because I have a little bit of early traveling, and then we'll see what I get done this week or not. But anyway, stay tuned for information. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we will catch you guys.